Hello everyone. So before the video starts, I just want to say, please explore with this character. Just because you watch this video does not mean you're going to be an amazing Fuze player, but what I want you to do is, after you watch this video, if you're a little bored, hop into a custom game, walk around, do stuff like that, walk around certain maps, find cool angles, sorry if you heard my phone, shit like that. Find those angles. Find those cool angles that you know would be effective in ranked. Use them in ranked. And really, you're going to have your teammates messaging you, calling you a fat brain. And you're going to have your enemies messaging you, calling you a virgin. It doesn't matter, though, because now your elo's higher than your enemy, like I said. So, explore. Be creative. You got to be creative with this character. So, that's all I want to say. Thank you. Do enjoy the video. I hope you guys learned something. Goodbye. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to master Fuze. So, despite what you might hear from a lot of people, Fuze is actually really hard, but I think he's really slept on. Like, really slept on. He's one of the best operators in the game when it comes to gadget and utility clearing. He's really slept on when it comes to this type of thing. And I'm going to be telling you why. So, first things first, before we do anything, when it comes to these type of things, I like to talk about weapons and loadout in general. So first things first, the shield. You can use the shield. I would say the shield isn't as good as it used to be because he no longer has his smoke grenades. But before, I would say the shield is quite good because he had smokes. But now you can still use it, but I would say only really use it when you are with a extremely well coordinated team. If you're 5 stacking, the Fuze shield is fine. You can use it solo queue. I've used it solo queue a couple times, but it's just not as good as it used to be. The LMG's good. The LMG's fine. When it comes to the AK versus the LMG, it really just is personal preference. Obviously, the AK is the better gun, but if you really just want to use the LMG because you have black ice on it like I do or something, then you can totally use the LMG. The 100 bullets is always really nice. The AK is an amazing gun, one of the best guns in the game right now, so you could also use that. I would recommend always using the PMM. Honestly, I don't even remember the last time I even saw someone use this gun. PMM is probably the best pistol in the game, so use that. And for the breach charge versus the hard breach, it's map dependent. I would say for the most part you'd be running the breach charge, but there is some sites that I will get into shortly that I actually do run the hard breach. So let's get into this. So my apologies for this, but I actually never went into sites you can actually run the hard breach on. So I'm going to take a quick 15 seconds just to kind of go over that really quickly. So sites that I would recommend running the hard breach device on is Downstairs Defense on Consulate. Run Fuze there. I pretty much run Fuze there every time. I would also recommend doing this on possibly Clubhouse. So your hard breach can really worry about getting dirt, and sometimes they die. So yeah, having the hard breach device actually does kind of come in clutch sometimes. And really any other site that you think would be useful, like I said, explore, be creative. But just a quick example of a site that is really useful. I would say I pretty much run it every single time on Consulate, but come up with your own ideas. Thank you. So something that I never understood about this game, or at least people who play Fuze in this game, is that people don't understand that the Fuze charge isn't random.
You located a bomb.
The cluster charge has a pattern and it always sticks to the pattern. So for example, because I put it on this wall, it's going to go from this way to this way. It's going to go from east to west. It always sticks to that pattern. It's not random. It never has been random. There you go. So, let's get that out of the way first. It is not random. It never has been random. Now, we're going to talk about vertical play. So, when talking about Fuze vertical play, it's actually really easy to learn how the cluster charge moves when we're talking about vertical. So, if I deploy the cluster charge like this, it's going to go from side to side. It's going to go from this way to this way, side to side. But if I were to deploy it this way, it's going to go side to side as well, but instead of going from this way to that way, it's going to go from this way to that way.
The diffuser is no longer in your possession.
Let me go ahead and show you what that looks like.
Has been secured.
So, because I deployed it this way, it's going to go from east to west. If you look at the holes, it's a straight fucking line. It's a straight line. It went from east to west, straight line. This one is the last one that blew up, so yes, it went from east to west. But if we put it in the exact same place, but this time facing this way, it's going to go down the hall. Meaning this, me standing right here, this might actually kill me. There we go. Okay, so for this next part, actually, this is kind of iffy. This, I would say, is not one of the more useful Fuze tricks, but it can be used. I've gotten a couple kills doing this. This, I would say, is more trying to get a kill with Fuze. Okay? So, this is called the shrapnel trick. Basically meaning damage through surfaces, basically. Okay? So, if I blow this cluster charge that I put on the front door, they all landed above me, right? If we go upstairs, we can look at the aftermath.
Bomb has been located.
It landed all above me, kind of over here. Right? So, let's go ahead and head back outside and put a cluster charge kind of in the same place. Pretty much the exact same place, and stand pretty much where I was standing the time before. Go ahead and put it a little bit more to the side. There we go. It's basically in the exact same place. Let's go ahead and go back downstairs and stand pretty much where we were before. Now, don't expect a lot of kills from this. The only way I've really ever used this is to get a kill, maybe, possibly, or really just kind of get people down a little bit on some unexpected damage. I'm 35 fucking health. People don't expect this because of the fact they probably didn't actually hear the cluster charge because you put the cluster charge all the way in the front fucking door. And when you deploy the cluster charge wasn't directly in the room that they are in. So they're probably not all that worried about it. And then all of a sudden they're one shot. You know what I'm saying? That's really all I would recommend using that trick even for. Also, there is actually not a lot of examples that I can really think of this actually working on a lot of different maps. That's really one of the only examples that I actually know for sure will work. So yeah, now that we kind of have the pattern down, and more or less a trick or two up our few sleeves, I'm going to kind of go over something that I think should be used a fuck ton, and it just isn't used. So, because you're playing Fuze, you're going to be playing vertical quite a lot, right? So here's what I recommend you start doing a lot more in your games when you play as Fuze. Covering the bomb with cluster charges. This is something that I do so much, and honestly, I don't remember a time that it actually hasn't worked. So, you know, I'm a defender, no one's in the site, I go over to the bomb, I start defusing, I hear a cluster charge, I'm like, oh fuck, run. And then I go to start defusing it, defuse it again. Another cluster charge goes off, I have to run. Cluster charge is done, I go back to the bomb. And like, fuck, look at the timer, I have to stick it, I gotta stick it, I gotta stick it. I start defusing, a third cluster charge goes off and kills me. That's the power of it. That's the power of it right there. The power of it is that it leaves the defender with such little choice in the matter, right? Because if they decide to do what I just showed you, which is constantly trying to just find a way to defuse the bomb, they're eventually just going to A, run out of time, or B, die to a cluster charge, okay? But they have that, or they can run upstairs and just try and kill you. And if they somehow even kill you, they still gotta run back downstairs and defuse the bomb in time. Which, if you are not the only one alive, is basically fucking impossible. And even if you are the only one alive, that is still really, really difficult. So, that's some of the power behind Fuze that I think is really untouched.
5 seconds
So, please start covering the bomb, or the planter, the plant, with cluster charges, because it's super powerful. It is very powerful. So guys, next I actually want to talk about precisely aiming the cluster charges. So, what I mean by this is, remember how we learned earlier in the video that cluster charges have a very strict pattern. They always have that pattern, and they always stick to that pattern, you know what I mean? So, I'm going to now, I don't know, I'm just kind of putting this together. I don't know. Say this is the site right here, I plant the bomb right here. I'm gonna go ahead and put the cluster charge like here. Say the bomb's planted in that doorway. This is just an example. I'm not saying this specific example would ever happen in a game, because let's be honest, that'd be kind of hard. So, the first 2 cluster charges will go flying to the right. The third one will go straight out. This other 2, the last 2 will go straight, will go fly to the left. That's the pattern. 2 to the right, 1 down the middle, 2 to the left. So, see how it did some damage? Obviously, I didn't really aim it all that great because, well, like I said, I'm really just kind of putting this together. This is just a really random example that probably will never even happen in a regular game. I'm just, you know, random ass examples. So, bombs in that doorway. If I were to be standing right here during the second cluster charge, I'd be dead right now. But the site is down here. I'm going to be showing you another example, but this might be a little more, I don't know, a little more. This might be easier to accomplish, I guess I should say. Alright, so this example I actually have used in game before. Say I plant the bomb in this doorway. People actually do plant in this doorway sometimes. Boom. Bomb's down right here. Cluster charge is on that window. There's a defender defusing the bomb. You blow the cluster charge. So, if you don't get what the fuck just happened, how I've already said, that third cluster charge is, it fires straight, okay? It fires straight, it goes in a straight line, it will always go in a straight line. So you're able to aim it quite well. Also, because the space that I fired the cluster charge inside of is so tiny, sometimes the ones that bounce to the right can bounce off certain walls and then come closer to the bomb. And that is actually what happened right there. I have used that in-game before, and that works. I've done that. I've killed someone with that. It works. Okay? However, that's probably not the most famous example of this. The most famous example of that ever occurring, or someone actually using that, is actually on Border. So I'm going to go to Border real quick, and I will meet you guys there. Alright guys, so for this next example, I want to talk about the third cluster charge that is fired from the cluster charge. I want to talk about the third grenade. So, say we plant bomb. So, the most famous site on this map is Armory, obviously, right? Everyone goes to Armory pretty much at the start of the game, right? So, Let's say you get bombed down. Usually people plant here. This is the default spot. This is the default plant. Everybody plants here, or at least they plant somewhere along this doorway. This is pretty much considered the default spot, right? So let's say we get bombed down right here. What you need to do is go to this wall in CC and put a cluster charge down right here. The third cluster charge that is fired from there will fly straight into this room and land on the bomb. So, I will go ahead and fire one just to show you. See what I mean? So, even though it did land right here, it will still damage me if the bomb's right here. Just as a heads up. So now, I'm going to do it again, but I'll be standing there. Just to show you how effective this is. This is another one that I have used in-game many times. As a heads up, though, I do want to say, I did not come up with this one. I do take credit for the one on Chalet. However, this one, like I said, I think this is the most famous example, and I believe Macy J did this. Or at least Macy J was the first person I saw do this. So, boom, blow the cluster charge. Now I'm 32 health, you know what I mean? That's why I like Fuze. He's able to cover the bomb so well sometimes. It's so nice. So, you know, we got a defender defusing, blow the cluster charge, now I'm dead.
All friendlies have been eliminated.
So, really, stuff like that is really powerful and really good, really nice, really useful, and honestly so underrated. This character is criminally underrated, and it makes me mad. Hello everyone, so before the video ends, like I said at the beginning of the video, I just want to say, please just explore. Explore with this character. This character is hard. This character is difficult because you need to be creative. You need to be creative. You need to be willing to experiment to pull off shit with this character, okay? So, you know, if you're bored, hop into custom game. Walk around certain maps. Find cool angles. You know, do shit like that. People might call you, you know, bad names for it, but it's fine. You know, it doesn't matter because now your elo's higher than theirs. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, please explore. Be willing to be creative with this character. That's where you'll be able to profit. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Most of all though, I hope you guys learned something. And I hope this video is able to boost your Fuze IQ a little bit. Thank you. Goodbye.